Welcome to the 4 to 5, everybody. Eric Chilton here with Chad Silver, Lauren Coleman, Monique Robinson.
Hey, everybody. Did you guys have a great Thanksgiving?
I did.
It was great. My coat is fitting a bit tighter today.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Mine too. Had a little bit of trouble this morning putting on the dress here. Well, thanks for watching us on News 2, Fire Stick, Roku, and the WFNY News 2 app.
This half hour, we're going to be talking about onions and verifying a claim whether an onion can help cure the common cold.
Interesting. I have a lot to say about that
I
story.
can't wait to hear it.
But for now, we want to get into some of our top headlines with your 4 to 5 roundup. Viruses are spreading this fall, leading to what doctors are calling a triple-demic. To help with increased hospital admissions, Atrium Health deployed its mobile emergency department to the Carolinas Medical Center and Children's Hospitals in Charlotte.
The Children's Emergency Department visits are continuing to be high. I will share that over the last week, we saw a little less volume than we were seeing, which is a good sign. And that's part of the reason why we want to use this time, as Chan mentioned, to prepare and be ready for more viral illnesses that we expect to happen later this year. And that will be by using our Med1 assets.
The emergency department on wheels will be used to help treat less critical patients, providing added bed space to hospitals. So far, these precautions are just in place in Charlotte, not in the Tri.
Police in Greensboro say a man hit by a car last week has died. Police say someone hit 67-year-old Jerry McBride, who was walking along Church Street Friday night. The driver left the vehicle and took off. They have yet to find them. Martin died from his injuries on Saturday.
Memorial services continue for the 2 journalists killed in a news helicopter crash in Charlotte last week. Meteorologist Jason Myers and his pilot Chip Tayag died Tuesday. Pilot Chip Tayag's funeral will be this Thursday in South Carolina. He'll later be laid to rest in his hometown in Maryland. A visitation for Jason Myers was held Friday, followed by his funeral Saturday afternoon. Myers is from Davidson County. He had 4 children, and his colleagues described his family as his proudest accomplishment.
The city of Chesapeake, Virginia will hold a vigil tonight to honor the 6 people who were killed in a Walmart there last week. It follows a similar vigil at a local church yesterday. Police say a store manager shot his coworkers before turning the gun on himself.
New details have emerged in the death of 25-year-old Shanquella Robinson. Robinson was found dead last month while vacationing in Mexico with friends. Some of those friends initially told Robinson's parents she died of alcohol poisoning, but her death certificate later listed her cause of death as a spinal cord and neck injury. Mexican prosecutors say Robinson was killed in a, quote, direct attack, not an accident. And they're now trying to get an unnamed American woman extradited to face charges.
The FBI has authority to investigate crimes committed against U.S. citizens abroad, as well as crimes committed by U.S. citizens. So in this case, the FBI would be supporting our Mexican authorities in determining the cause of death and the circumstances around surrounding this particular, what appears to be a homicide.
Robinson's father told CBS News if it weren't for the disturbing videos that emerged from his daughter's trip, including one where she is being attacked, he fears that justice would have never been served.
60s in the triad towards the end of November. Not something that we see, but that's what we're feeling for today. 61 is the current temperature in Greensboro, 60 as well in Reedsville. These winds coming out of the north and west, some locations coming due north, and this is inviting a cooler air mass, but it really won't budge in terms of these temperatures as we get another system to kind of move in and change the weather pattern. We've seen some strong wind gusts. This has been lingering from yesterday, where we did see some very strong wind gusts with the showers that moved through early on in the day. Those winds remain gusty through the late evening and then lingered into your Monday morning. Some of those stronger wind gusts, Winston-Salem reporting wind gusts of 21 miles per hour. When we look towards the mountains, there was some very strong wind gusts there in Boone. You see around 49 miles per hour. As we go over the next several hours, these winds will weaken, but then as we get towards the midweek, they start picking up the pace again. So Tuesday, winds are calm, but they're transitioning out of the east and then the south. This is a precursor to the change of weather that we're going to be feeling towards the midweek. Take notice by Wednesday, we're talking very strong wind gusts out of the south and east, south and west, and those wind gusts are upwards of almost 25 miles per hour. Some locations going as high as up to 30 miles per hour through Wednesday and then into the early part of your Thursday morning. Your full 7-day also indicating that there's some rain and storm chances possible on Wednesday.
Well, Thanksgiving may be over, but the season of giving, it has just started, and Guilford County Schools started spreading the joy today by giving a bike to every third grader at Union Hill and Fairview Elementary Schools. Along with the bikes, each student also got a brand new helmet. This was part, look at them jumping around. Wow. This was part of GCS's continuing partnerships with the Bikes for Kids Foundation, and they were thrilled. Can you imagine if you're in third grade and they go, everybody gets a bike?
Right. I love seeing those videos.
Yeah, me too. So exciting. You all remember, Christmas or your birthday, waking up and seeing that bike downstairs. It was a great feeling for me. So there's just something about a bike that I feel is necessary in a kid's life. It's a great gift.
I want to ask Chad, because growing up in Wisconsin, did you get a bike for Christmas very often? Would you?
And you can't ride it for months.
Right, that's what I'm thinking.
So yeah, it just kind of sits there, or you hope that it hasn't snowed in like 2 days, so like the driveway isn't completely covered in ice.
You basically got sleds for Christmas instead of bikes.
Yeah, got a lot of sleds for Christmas. Yep, or a snowmobile.
Did your family ever? So I was going to ask you if you had a snowmobile.
Oh yeah.
For real?
Oh, that's pretty neat.
It's crazy because a lot of people. I grew up in a rural area, and a lot of people rode their snowmobiles to school, and that was how you got to school. And then they would just like pile all the snow in front of the school to make this big mountain, and all the snowmobiles would park on the mountain.
Can you imagine?
That sounds like a good time.
I know.
It sounds like I grew up in Alaska, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
Dog sleds or something.
Right, exactly.
And we all freak out when we used to get snow, 2 inches of snow. You probably got that in an hour.
Right, and you'd be happy about it because you're like, cool, I can take the snowmobile out.
Great.
It's so cool. Well, we all know that it's officially flu season, and then there's just wintertime bugs going around. Everyone seems to be getting sick and trying to get well. There are many ways to get over a cold, but is there a smelly secret remedy that can cure it overnight? Up next, we verify if onions can get you feeling better when you're sick. It's that time of year again. It's flu season and everyone seems to be getting sick after the holidays. We know to get rest and see a doctor when needed, but there is talk of other cures going around. We verify if a raw onion could help curb the cold.
When you have a cold, you'll do almost anything to relieve the pressure in your head, the scratch in your throat, and just feel better. Sometimes that means turning to old family cures or even YouTube. Verify viewer Michelle and several others emailed us to ask whether leaving a raw cut onion in a room can cure a cold. A similar version in blog posts and YouTube videos claims wearing a sock with an onion slice overnight can cleanse your body and help you get better. So let's verify. Can placing raw onions in your house or on your skin cure a cold or flu? Our sources are Providence Health and Services, the National Onion Association, and Bawalia Lungu, a food science professor with the University of California, Davis. If you've ever cut an onion, then you know tears are bound to follow as enzymes are released into the air that irritates our eyes. Centuries ago, during the bubonic plague, our sources say people thought that reaction was the air being purified, and that would help keep them healthy.
I guess they were thinking that smell is going to help clear or clean out the environment. But again, life doesn't work like that.
Similarly, Lungu says some modern Chinese medicine practitioners falsely claim an onion's purifying properties can be absorbed through the feet.
The body doesn't absorb compounds or nutrients and send them to major internal organs that way.
Lungu points out there is no evidence that proves any of these methods work to treat an illness. So, no, placing raw onions in your house or on your skin cannot cure a cold. Onions do have important prebiotics that can strengthen your body's immune system, but our sources say to get those benefits, you'd need to eat the onions, not put them on your skin or in your home. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
You guys, for so long, I thought this was true.
A lot of people do.
Once in high school, I tried it because someone at school was talking about it. I was just so sick. So I went home, I started cutting up some onions, and my family was like, "What are you doing?"
Were you putting them in your shoes?
I put them in my socks, and I slept
yes.
in them overnight. And it didn't work. I
It
just
must have
stunk. I
smelled
just
so
smelled bad the
bad.
next
Oh.
day.
Can you imagine? Oh my
And you
God.
know your
Feet and onions.
yeah, my parents were just like,
man.
okay, do you, but that's not gonna work. But I've always heard about this for years, so it's
Well,
good
you
to
said
know
something during
officially
the break
it's not
that
true.
I believe that people, if it happens,
Right, yeah, like we could just be coming down on the backside of a cold and you do it and you're like, it works.
Yeah, it worked, right.
Yeah.
You never
In
have
your
that
mind, you're
idea.
feeling like, I think it feels better.
Right.
What other things do you all do? I know when I've gotten colds in the past, I try to put sweats on and sweat it out, or I'll like put sweats on and go for, on the treadmill thinking that I'm gonna sweat out the cold.
my mother used to tell me, when I had a fever, she would put extra blankets on me on purpose, and same thing, she'd say sweat it out. And my friend who's a doctor says, you do break out in a sweat when your fever breaks, but that doesn't help it any faster.
Oh, okay.
My mom was the queen of vapor rub.
Yes.
Puts them on your chest,
Some
puts them
Vicks.
on the bottom of your feet
Yes.
before you go to bed.
Put a little bit under your nose.
Yes, that's true. That does help.
It
That
does.
really does help.
I also like Theraflu, the liquid kind. You have to get the liquid
My
kind,
wife,
the
she does
warming
that.
sensation. That's a mental thing for me. I feel like I feel it going through my body.
Because of warmth.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
whenever I know that I'm about to get sick or if I get a sore throat, I take some warm Theraflu.
I'm a
and
NyQuil
drink that.
fan. NyQuil, I sleep the best. It stops me from, dries me up. I love that. It works the best for
And
me.
it gets you to sleep too.
It'll do that.
Tanya always talks about a hot toddy.
Yes, I've
Yes,
had one
that's
of those
a real
before.
thing.
Oh, drink.
Yeah, make a little one of those.
Google that. We'll be right back. You know, when people hear about vegan food, some people turn up their noses and say, not for me. But Mike Roach in Greensboro says you'd be dead wrong if you tasted his version of vegan food. I caught up with this entrepreneur about how his company, Mike's Vegan Hot Dogs, went from a dream to now a brick and mortar store in no time. Mike, how did you get going into the whole vegan scene way before this?
Yeah, so actually my wife had started me up with this lifestyle. It actually, I want to say saved my life, man, really. I was going through a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, and I think a lot of it was from the foods that I was consuming. My background is Latino, my father is from Burlington, North Carolina, and you know, my mom used to cook a lot of carne asada and stuff like that, which is amazing. But you know, once I realized how much weight I was gaining and the anxiety and the depression was building on, I found India on social media and reached out to her.
So you went to having a food truck next, right? That's what you're still doing now.
Yes, sir.
So, and then tell me about your success with that.
Yes, sir. So in 2019, I started off with a food trailer in Chapel Hill. It was called Mike's Vegan Hot Dogs. Mike's Vegan Hot Dogs was a big risk of mine. It was a lot of beautiful moments and a lot of lonely moments to discover this, right? From there, we knew that people were coming from all over North Carolina to visit this trailer to get a vegan hot dogs. Vegans were popping out of everywhere, right? The word spread, non-vegans were coming. So then I realized, hey man, I think I need a food truck so I can hit every city in North Carolina to come to the people instead of them coming to me. The trailer was a standalone. I could not take it anywhere.
And then now you're doing this. So first time with a brick and mortar,
yes,
right?
Sir.
Tell me what this is gonna look like.
This brick and mortar is full of hard work, dedication, beautiful people that support the business. Word of mouth has been amazing. Social media has been strong. And this is what you're looking at off of that, you know, and it's a blessing.
Tell me about the food though, because everybody, especially somebody who's not vegan, I didn't know what this is about.
Yes,
Tell
sir.
me how the taste is.
So the taste is very similar to what you're probably used to. I wish you had a burger for you to try, honestly, because it would blow you away. But the burger is so good, man. People come back and double back and triple back just to off of one. They come buy a burger or a hot dog. They eat it in their car, which now we have a place for them to eat at. They eat it in their car, and then you see them coming back and wanting more. So, I mean, that tells me, like, this is pretty good stuff. And not saying that I enjoy it, because I really do, but it's a blessing to put these toppings together and create something like that that's a healthier alternative for people.
Yeah, because you might actually save lives. I mean,
that's what we're trying to do. And you know, the food is made with nothing but positivity and love, you know, and that's what we're trying to spread here.
I'm telling you, the
really
pictures,
good.
seriously. Like, look, so I didn't get to try it because the brick and mortar store is the old Gassan's on Gate City Boulevard. If the building looks familiar to people. So they're not ready yet. January, mid-January is when he thinks he's going to launch. But his food truck has been his primary thing forever. But it was just amazing how he said, you know, I found my fiance, now wife, on social media through the vegan thing, and then they started dating, and then she said, you really should do this, it's healthy for you. And he said, I lost a ton of weight. And so I think like it might have saved my life, because he said I was heavy and that he'd need to get away from that food, but he loves the way it tastes, and here we are.
That's a story within itself.
It is.
For him to, you know, walk us through his nutrition journey and what worked for him. That could be a good follow-up story.
I want to try it though.
Yeah, it was
So
great
do
that I loved just the backstory here where he said, you know, it might have saved my life doing this. I mean, and then to be able to meet the love of your life through it, that's great.
Let me tell you, he said, I put every bit of my money that I had in the world into starting this out as the hot dog, and it was a trailer he used to pull behind it. It wasn't really like a food truck, it was portable. And he said, and we worked our tails off, and then we got a food truck, and then I started going to every major city in North Carolina. But they're huge on social media. So when we get the story posted, check it out. We'll try to link you to them. But they have a following, like 14,000 people all across the state.
I'm just glad we're getting more options in our area. You know, you see a lot of stuff like this in California and different places, but it's nice to see more of this coming to the Triad.
All right, let's check our forecast. Monique's out there with all the details.
Yes, temperatures dropping down into the 30s for tonight with partly cloudy skies, and tomorrow we're warming back up to a high of 60 degrees, staying dry through tonight and tomorrow. Not worried about rain just quite yet, but the Storm Prediction Center is already alerting us to Wednesday, putting us under a marginal risk that's a level 1 for severe storms. You could see the entire state has some sort of color on here, indicating that some of us are going to see a storm or two, and some of which could be strong, maybe even severe. Let's take a look at our futurecast to see that timing of when we could expect the arrival of some of those said showers and even storms. So today it's going to be dry, as I mentioned. Tonight, continuing to have dry conditions all through your day on Monday. Now on Tuesday, we'll have additional clouds, especially that build in for the latter part of the day, but then the rain arrives overnight. So after midnight, continuing through the early part of your Wednesday. Now this particular model is showing that rain exiting quickly through the morning and really much not impacting much of your day. After that, just lingering clouds sticking with us. As we get closer to Wednesday, we'll be better able to fine tune the exact forecast. It looks as though it's going to be an early morning event as of now, but as I mentioned, as we get closer and closer to Wednesday, we'll be able to pinpoint exactly when that arrival time is of showers and even storms. So tomorrow we're staying dry. In fact, Tuesday and Wednesday we're warming up, but it's also going to feel a little bit more humid. Wednesday, winds will also be picking up, so we're talking winds getting breezy. As I mentioned earlier in the 4 p.m. hour, it will be a breezy day on Wednesday. Those breezes will stick with us through Thursday morning. Now Thursday is going to be much colder. What's bringing the storms is a cold front, so we're going to feel that colder air on Thursday and on Friday.
Yes, let's see, there I go. All right, I am talking about welcoming new people to the family. Still have a nice holiday.
In national news today, the largest active volcano on Earth is erupting. The volcano erupted in Hawaii late last night for the first time in 38 years, casting a red glow over the sky. The volcano is one of 5 that make up the Hawaii Islands. So far, officials have not ordered any evacuations on the Big Island, saying that the lava is contained, but they are keeping a close eye on conditions. Falling ash and air quality are the biggest concerns today. Anyone with respiratory issues is advised to stay inside. The last time the volcano erupted was in 1984. It lasted 20 days. Wow, that's kind of unbelievable to believe that you could be living somewhere for most of your life knowing that this volcano is there and it could erupt and then, you know, it happens.
And then there's nothing you can do. You just have to sit there and watch the lava, which moves at like a crawling speed. Just hope that it doesn't make it to your house.
It's incredible that volcanoes are a thing.
Yeah.
You know, like just like the very like thinking about it like from a child's mind, like what is there's
I know.
molten lava coming from the center of the earth,
And that's
and you just never know when it'll happen.
And that's what created the Hawaiian Islands, or
It's
underwater
crazy.
volcanoes. I mean, it's amazing.
They make for beautiful images. Unfortunately, not supposed
they
to
do.
breathe that air in,
Yeah.
but it does make for some beautiful images. When you were just speaking of children, though, I can imagine for a lot of children, this is like the very first time they've ever experienced. Some adults may have obviously experienced this before.
It's been 40 years, right? Like,
yeah. So I mean, it's kind of fascinating, but yeah, wild that that's happening right
Yeah.
now.
I wouldn't mind seeing it in person, but just a
flying
safe
over
distance.
it, around it.
Yeah.
Or
look
like
at
some
it.
drone
Yeah,
video.
no,
that would be
great.
nice.
That would be
to see.
cool.
I'm
Beautiful.
sure we'll be seeing that.
Yes, we will.
Right.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to take a short break, and we're coming right back.
All right, here I am talking about the holidays.
Hey there, welcome back. Well, cut the music.
That's it. We're done.
Done with
Everyone
that.
stop dancing.
Now we got to talk. Yeah, Eric, Chad, Monique, and Lauren with you today. It's going to be fun. It's Monday. We got to get the Mondays out, right? Shake them off.
Some even call it a holiday. Cyber Monday.
True.
We're going to be talking about that this half hour. Have you Cyber Monday?
I
Maybe
have
don't
not
answer your
Cyber
boss's
Monday
watch.
yet. Or have I?
I'm into that.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about that a little bit later.
More on that in just a few, but we want to get to some of your headlines with your 4 to 5 roundup. The High Point Fire Department is in mourning after their battalion chief, Randy Campbell, died from cancer. They say Chief Campbell served as the chief mechanic of their shop for many years and was a valuable member of their department. They say he will be dearly missed. And the fire department is asking for prayers for his family and friends.
Family and friends will gather this week to say goodbye to the pilot who died in that news helicopter crash last week. There will be a visitation for Chip Tayag tomorrow. His funeral will be Saturday. WBTV meteorologist Jason Myers also died in the crash along I-77. He was laid to rest over the weekend. The gunman accused of shooting and killing 10 people at a Buffalo grocery store pleaded guilty today to murder and hate-motivated charges. Police arrested 19-year-old Peyton Gendron back in May after investigators say he used a legally purchased semi-automatic rifle in the Top Store massacre. The charges carry an automatic sentence of life in prison. He pleaded not guilty to separate federal hate crime charges, which would have carried the death penalty.
Over in Texas, millions of Houston residents are under a boil water advisory. The citywide alert was issued after a water purification plant lost power, causing water pressure to drop below state standards. Some businesses like Starbucks were forced to close, unable to boil water and provide services. Workers are now testing the water, and until those tests are processed and returned, all will need to boil water. The advisory is not expected to end until tomorrow. Black Friday and Small Business Saturday have passed, and Cyber Monday is now underway, but tomorrow is time for folks to give back on Giving Tuesday. Before you give to any organization, you should vet it with give.org or the Better Business Bureau. You should pay special attention to organizations with similar names to popular charities. For example, the Wounded Warrior Fund sounds similar to the legitimate Wounded Warrior Project. Make sure your money goes the distance this Giving Tuesday.
It should come as no surprise. There were major flight delays and cancellations over the weekend. It wasn't before Thanksgiving. It happened as people were trying to get home.
From highways,
and we've been in traffic all day,
to side streets.
We have hit some pretty dense patches of traffic.
There was no escape from the crush of holiday traffic for millions trying to get back home.
I'm always scared.
Wind and fog caused more than 6,000 flight delays, but fewer than 200 cancellations nationwide Sunday after what had been a fairly smooth travel week.
I'm hoping we get out of New York on time because of the weather.
The flight was supposed to be at 6:50. We didn't take off until 11:30. By the time we landed here, it was close to 2 a.m.
Flights were halted in the New York and D.C. areas for hours Sunday as airports expected to have their busiest day since the pandemic.
Planes are full, airports are kind of hectic.
Packed planes and the holidays brought out the worst in some flyers. While incidents of disruptive passengers are down 80% this year after soaring during the pandemic, the Thanksgiving travel period was marked by a number of incidents. Football star Odell Beckham Jr. was escorted off a flight by police in Miami. According to American Airlines, he refused to fasten his seatbelt. Beckham's lawyer denies that account. A JetBlue flight from New York to Salt Lake City was met by police after a passenger allegedly threatened a woman on board with a razor. This follows an incident earlier in the month where the TSA missed a box cutter in a disruptive passenger's bag. TSA Administrator David Pekoski insists air travel is safe.
Passengers shouldn't be concerned. We have literally all hands on deck when that happens and try to figure out why and then very quickly put measures in place to prevent it from happening again.
Airlines expect today, Monday, to be a very busy travel day as folks look to stretch their Thanksgiving holiday. The weather is better. We only saw a handful of flight delays up on the boards here at Reagan National Airport. We also saw very long security lines this morning as the airports remain packed for another day. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Reagan National Airport, Virginia.
I love seeing the videos of people being crazy on airplanes. I mean, I just love it.
You love it?
It's hilarious to
I just
me.
don't get it why and usually it's something so small.
Like
right,
buckling your
about.
seatbelt.
Yeah, please.
That's simple. That's trying to make a statement, I feel.
And I mean, you're Odell Beckham. Like, what?
He has a history of showing out, man. He's just one of those guys that's all type A and bold, and yeah.
And then the razor on the airplane
Right.
and the blade. I'm like, how did that even happen? I know that you said there's some slip-ups,
Yeah,
but
sometimes.
that's a dangerous slip-up.
Well, I tell you, I would much rather be in an airport with a delayed flight than sit on the tarmac. I hate it when you're sitting there waiting to. That's
and
the
there's
worst.
an issue, and they're
Yep.
like, we got to shut everything down. It's going to take 30 minutes. And
Or
you're
an
like,
hour.
I just want to get home or to your destination.
Get me out of this flying tube.
And it's always when you're stuck in the middle seat and you've got people
And then the
who
person next
smell
to
or
you
they
is
snore or
coughing
they-
uncontrollably without a mask, and I'm just like
falling asleep with their head on your shoulder.
drooling. You know, it's just a lot.
The worst. All right, let's move on to something a little better. We're expressing things we really don't like. All right, the holidays with new family members can be just a little bit tricky, of course, particularly if you feel like you don't know them very well. Perhaps you feel uncomfortable with some of the new family members because you feel like they're replacing other people in the family who aren't celebrating with you. Now, specifically here, we're talking about divorced parents, and this is what Blanca Cobb, she has a master's degree in psychology. That's what we're talking about today. So, Blanca, let's get right to it. What should you keep in mind when you're spending the holidays with some of those new family members?
When you're spending the holidays with new family members, think about it like this. This is an addition. This is an extension of your family. This isn't a replacement or a substitution. Change your mindset to something positive, because negative begets more negativity. Instead, realize this, you don't need to have divided loyalties. If you think about your family expanding, you're just spending it differently. And remember this also, you have enough love to love more than who is in your immediate family, so to speak. You have plenty of love for other people.
And, you know, of course, it's our obligation. You got to make everybody feel welcome. I mean, how do you do that?
Well, even if you have mixed feelings or angry feelings, let's say, toward your divorced parent, that's something you need to keep in check, and that's something between you and them, because it isn't right or fair to extend that negativity to new family members, particularly if they have nothing to do with it. Be curious, and that's one way because to welcome people, because when you're curious, you end up asking them questions. And when you ask questions about people, then you come across as interesting because you're interested in them. So that is just really important. And also include them in any group decisions. Because what happens a lot of times with new people, you kind of just tell them what the family does. But if they actually are part of the family, it would be great to include them in some decision. For example, we're thinking about apple pie this year. Do you like apple pie, or is there a particular other pie? So it doesn't have to be an earth-shattering family decision. It's about inclusion, because that makes people feel welcome.
So let's say you're asking some of those questions, and then you get little red flags, right? That there's something that was somebody new there at Thanksgiving. Then how would you handle that as you move into the next holiday, like if there's another Christmas, say, gathering?
That's a great question. So realize this, just because there could be a fluke. So just because something is off at Thanksgiving doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen again at Christmas. So you just want to monitor it. Sometimes things work out themselves, but if you notice it's the same thing, or maybe involving the same people, this is where you want to become more of an investigator, but a nice investigator, and just see what's happening. And by that, what I mean is just like checking out the situation and asking questions like, hey, what's going on? Or how can I help? Or if it's something a little more serious where someone has hurt feelings, or perhaps are not talking, say, hey, how's this impacting you? What can I do to help? Because that's what you want to do. You want to help, and whatever solution you bring, it's about bringing the family together. Just keep that in mind.
Yep, tough sometimes to navigate that. Thank you, Blanca. You can continue that conversation with Blanca on her Facebook page. Just look for her there. It's Blanca Cobb, body language expert.
Gorgeous skies in downtown Greensboro. This is a live look at our sky cam, where we're getting to see that sun starting to set, and we're going to be saying goodbye to it in just a couple of minutes. That current temperature in Greensboro is 61 degrees even now. Guys, it's November. We're in the 60s. We shouldn't be like this, but hey, I'll take it because I do like spring weather. What you need to know for the next couple of days: we're sunny, dry, and even warmer tomorrow. Now, rain and storms are possible overnight, ending around lunchtime. That's what it looks like on Wednesday, but it's also going to be very windy. A couple of factors that we're going to have to keep a close eye on Wednesday: the rain, the storms, and the wind. The temperatures also being very warm. After that, we're talking chilly weather for your Thursday and Friday, low temperatures in the 20s. So the next 3 days have all different temperatures. Tomorrow, we're warm in the 60s. Wednesday, we're warm, and we're talking rain and storms, and we're talking wind. Couple different factors we got to worry about on Wednesday. The midweek is bringing busy weather. Thursday, it's going to be chillier. 49. That's as warm as we get. That's roughly 11 degrees warmer than what we're sitting at, 12 degrees warmer than what we're sitting at right now. It's going to be a breezy morning on Thursday, and you can see those overnight lows are in the low 30s, and on Friday an even chillier start to the day in the 20s. I just want to point out also it will feel a little bit more humid on Wednesday. We've had this bone dry air where you need the lotion, you need the chapstick, but on Wednesday we'll have a little bit of a break from that very, very dry air as that humidity builds in, along with that rain and storms that are in the case for Wednesday. Make sure to download that WFNY News 2 app so you can always be weather aware. Wednesday is one of those days where you want to be so.
Congress has been out of session for more than a month while members went home for the elections and Thanksgiving. But it's back to work today, and there is a lot left to do in the lame duck session before a new Congress is convened in January.
Christmas carols mark the beginning of the holiday season for many, but they also indicate time is coming to an end for others.
We're going to try to have as productive a lame duck session as possible.
Congress is back in session and they have just 4 weeks to pass a number of bills before the end of the year.
I tell my colleagues it's going to be heavy work, long hours to try and get much done.
The most pressing issues are passing the Defense Authorization Act, which authorizes funding for the military, and a new spending bill to keep the government open beyond the December 16th deadline. Democrats also have a number of legislative items they would like to get passed before Republicans take control of the House come January. The Democrats' wish list includes election law reform, the Respect for Marriage Act, raising the debt limit, and additional funding for Ukraine.
We are going to provide more oversight, transparency, and accountability. We're not going to write a blank check.
Republican leader Kevin McCarthy has questioned long-term aid to Ukraine. Skyler Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Democrats plan to vote on the Respect for Marriage Act possibly as soon as tomorrow in the Senate. The bill has enough Republican support to pass in the Senate and the House before moving on to President Biden's desk to sign into law.
You might be feeling run down after a busy Thanksgiving weekend. Maybe it's just a cold, or could it be something more serious? On today's To Your Wellbeing, a Cone Health expert is talking about multiple viruses hitting hospitals right now. We're also taking your questions about COVID, the flu, and RSV. You can text them to us at 336-379-5775. We'll get those answered anonymously starting at 5:30.
Hey, Cyber Monday, Black Friday. Do you shop at work? I bet you do. Two Ones Knows Ben Briscoe here with something most of us want to keep a secret, but almost everyone does at some point in their lives. I'm talking about shopping online while you're at work. Seriously, so many people do it. That's how Cyber Monday started, with people shopping online instead of working after the holiday. But it's not just Cyber Monday. According to a new survey by Finder.com, during the holiday season, the average worker will spend 102 minutes a day online shopping while on the clock. That's almost 2 hours.
You'll see people kind of walk by and you'll just tab over to something else.
We shouldn't, but it's right there. It's so easy to access that it's hard to resist it.
Really boring meeting that you kind of have nothing else to do. I mean, come on, it's just what you do, right?
Okay, before all the managers out there get angry about this, listen up. Researchers at Michigan State found workers taking breaks improves productivity, improves job satisfaction, increases creativity, and restores their focus on long-term goals. I will be the first to admit I have shopped at work many times.
I have shopped at work as well, but 2 hours?
In our
industry, there's no time for that. I'm trying to meet my deadline, so I don't.
But like 30, 40, you can get away with
20, something like that.
Even 40 is pushing it for me.
I can probably get 40 in, but I mean, that depends on what my day is like.
Yeah.
Pick the days where you've already done some stuff ahead of time.
And some people have boring jobs though. You know,
That's
like,
true.
everybody has like friends where
Cubicle
they're like,
jobs.
man, I just look at that clock all day, just waiting for 5 o'clock.
I feel so sorry for those people. I get here at work and I'm like, I love my job, and the day races
I'm always
by.
like, where did the time go?
Yeah.
Because I'm always running around trying to meet those deadlines.
Also, I want to know what job do you watch the clock all day long?
Yeah,
Like,
I
is
don't
that?
know. I have no idea.
So if you don't have one of those jobs where you're watching the clock and you are working all the time, it really is a good idea to take a break.
Oh, absolutely.
And here's what the researchers found on when you should do that. If you're going to dabble with some shopping online here and there, the researchers said it's best to set an alarm on your phone for 52 minutes, focus real hard at work, then take a break for 17 minutes, which I thought was kind of a long time. But they said that's the optimum balance, and their study people who did this actually increased their productivity at work over people who took no breaks at all.
I believe that.
I imagine that it's probably because you know that you're getting close to your deadline there, so you're like, okay, I got to finish all this before I'm allowed to take this break.
That's how I have a process to when I take breaks. I'm like, let me write my story. Then when it's getting approved, I can take my lunch break. But if that doesn't happen, I don't know when I'm going to take my break because I like to get my work done first.
So I tried the 52-17 all day today. It was like a race to get stuff done. It was.
But you have to take that break. I just think it's healthy for you, and it does give you just fresh energy. And some people, I hear they skip lunch because they're just trying to get their work done.
No,
You got
do
to
that.
stop.
My thing is, I either go down to the break room and sit and eat something, or I get out of the building and go pick something up or go eat. I have to have that middle of the day break.
And you've seen me take naps in my car before.
Yes, I've seen
I'll
a
set
lot
an
of people
alarm
do
for
that.
30 minutes. Got to set that alarm because sometimes I get real comfortable.
Power nap's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
And every time I've always wanted to catch her sleeping in her car because I just want to go up and bang on the windows.
There was one time you saw me, I went like this, and you were like, oh, hi, Lauren.
We had a producer who doesn't work here anymore, but he took a nap every day in his car.
Yeah.
Every day.
Someone used to bring a hammock here too.
No.
About the trees. Yeah.
That's a good idea. All right, now I know what I'm doing tomorrow. The hammock's on the way. We'll be right back.
Christmas has arrived at the White House. Check out this year's decorations.
The theme is We the People, representing Americans coming together for the holiday season.
That's right, here you go. You can look at them full. Planning begins in the spring with a theme and inspirations. There are actually 77 Christmas trees and more than 83,000 lights as part of the decorations.
Today, some of the first visitors to enjoy the decorations will be military families and volunteers who help decorate. Around 50,000 visitors will stop by the White House over the next few weeks just to see the decorations. Can't blame them.
So beautiful. I would definitely love to take a tour of the White House during this time of year.
Have you ever taken one at all?
I have gone there for, you know how they do the Easter egg roll? I went as a child when I was in 2nd grade.
I've never been to the White House, like inside the White House.
I've stood at the gate.
And
watched it.
Hey, let us in.
I stood at the gate one time, and I don't know, this is like a guy thing, but I just wanted to look on the roof and see where like snipers. I was like always looking, and they probably were looking at me like, who's the guy standing at the gate way too long.
Yeah, you should make a trip of it. They have lots of opportunities to go up there and like things like this, the Easter egg rolls.
With all these Christmas trees, it reminds me of the Biltmore.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
I mean, I went there with my parents, and it was like the end of October, and they were already putting the Christmas trees up.
Oh, I know, it's no
joke.
joke.
It was beautiful.
I was thinking about that too, because I went this past January and they still had a lot of the decorations up, and it was just so beautiful. I mean, it's a palace.
It is. Right. It really is. Monique, have you ever been to the Biltmore or the White House?
I have seen the White House Christmas decorations in person with the tree. They also have a Kwanzaa set up. They also do a train that's all in front of the White House. Tonight, temperatures here at home, though, are falling down to the mid-30s. Tomorrow, we're warming up to the 60s. Partly cloudy skies, staying dry. Really not what we expect for this time of year, but we're sticking with the 60s for today, for tomorrow, and even on Wednesday. That warm, juicy air is good ingredients for thunderstorms, and that's what we're expecting on Wednesday. In fact, the Storm Prediction Center puts us in this swath of green, which is indicating a marginal risk for severe storms. Now, not expecting a tornado threat, flooding, not worried about that either, but winds are something that we could see with any of the strong to severe storms that develop. Some damaging winds are possible. So the timing of it looks as though it arrives late Tuesday night, really early Wednesday morning, whichever way you plan to reference it. It's after midnight is the timing of it, and then more than likely continuing into early Wednesday morning. You can see that rain picking up on this futurecast, continuing to travel eastward. So your full 7-day here. After Wednesday, those temperatures do get chillier for your Thursday and Friday behind a cold front. Now, over the weekend, there is a chance of rain, but going to keep a close eye on that as we get closer towards the weekend. We'll have a better idea of what we can expect. But right now, it seems as though the weekend is set up to be seasonable.
Microphone check, microphone check. I'm the Queen LC. Bow down to me.
Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Check, baby, 1, 2, 3, 4. Check, baby, baby.
Hi, we are talking about Cyber Monday. Jeez, there's so many shopping days.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Hello, hello. Mic check, mic check. Hello, hello, hello. That means like
Check
February,
1,
I won't be
2,
able
3,
to do
4. Ba ba diddy diddy down diddy do.
COVID was terrible in so many ways, is still terrible, but through it all, there was something positive that came out of it for me. I'm buying less stuff. See, being stuck at home all that time made me realize how jam-packed my house is with things I hardly ever use. Items I was so excited to buy, then quickly forgot about because they got stuck in the back of a cabinet or fell in the back of the closet. Being at home forced me to see that mess all the time. I started feeling suffocated by it. Everywhere I looked, stuff was translating to dollar signs in my mind. Wasted money. Instead of living my dreams of traveling the world, I had spent away on new shirts, tools I only used once, or other extras for the house. It made me realize I don't need more things. I need more memories with friends and family. That's why for the first time ever, I have not bought a single item during Black Friday or Cyber Monday. And I don't miss it. Sure, there are things we need in life, and it is great to get them when they are on sale. But before I purchase something from now on, I'm asking myself, is this something I'm still going to use in a year? If not, I'm skipping over it and investing that money in chasing my dreams instead. That's my 2 cents. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.
Hospitals keep playing catch up, beds filling up with sick patients.
Yeah, with one holiday behind us and another approaching, health systems, they're preparing to see more sick people when they blame 3 viruses. WFMY News 2's Ariel Cadet digs into plans to handle the influx of patients.